The Ukraine-Russia War, Azerbaijan-Armenia War, China's plans to invade Taiwan, and finally, the Israel-Palestine War. All these events have heightened international tension. In recent days, the same question is on everyone's mind worldwide. Is the approaching a third world war? Or another question arises. In the event of a potential third world war, which countries will align with which side? We have researched and compiled the answers to these questions for you, presenting the details of recent wars in videos. Enjoy watching. We are on the brink of the Third World War. Everyone should be prepared. The Third World War has never been this close. If the Third World War breaks out, the nuclear consequences of this war will be devastating for the world. I don't know when and between whom the Third World War will happen, but I am sure that the Fourth World War will be fought with stones and sticks. The statements of world leaders reflect the political tensions and ongoing wars in many places today. The Ukraine-Russia war, mentioned earlier, began in February 2022 and has not yet concluded in the approximately 2 years since. This war has cost the world approximately $1.6 trillion and resulted in the loss of around 70,000 Ukrainian and 120,000 Russian lives. It's not confined to just Russia and Ukraine. Countries like the United States, the United Kingdom, Germany, France, Canada, Belgium, the Netherlands, Denmark have provided direct military support to Ukraine. Meanwhile, Belarus, Cuba, India, Iran, China, North Korea, and Syria have been politically supporting Russia. On March 25, 2023, Russian President Vladimir Putin announced the withdrawal from the agreement limiting nuclear weapons and the deployment of tactical nuclear weapons to Belarus. This move wasn't Russia's first nuclear attempt. In 2016, Putin revealed the placement of 4 nuclear-headed Iskander missiles in Kaliningrad, Russia's territory in Central Europe, with a range of 740 kilometers capable of hitting Berlin, Stockholm, Copenhagen, and the entirety of Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. In response, NATO, led by the United States, has nuclear missiles in Germany, Italy, and Turkey, though they have not disclosed them, a well-known fact. However, with the advancement of technology, nuclear bombs can now be mounted on submarines, warships, and bombers, diminishing the significance of land-based missiles. In the event of a potential Russian attack, the United States Navy, with submarines positioned worldwide, has the capacity to easily strike Russia. When we look at the numbers of nuclear submarines, the United States has 72, Russia has 32, China has 13, the United Kingdom has 11, France has 8, and India has 2 nuclear submarines. In terms of the total nuclear weapon capacity of countries, Russia is in the first place with 5,977 nuclear weapons, followed by the United States with 5,428 nuclear weapons. China, in the third place, has 350 nuclear weapons, followed by France with 290, the United Kingdom with 225, Pakistan with 165, India with 160, Israel with 90, and North Korea with 20 nuclear weapons. Additionally, looking at countries that do not directly produce nuclear weapons, but possess them under the NATO sharing plan, Turkey has 50, Italy has 40, and Germany, the Netherlands, and Belgium each have 20 nuclear weapons. It's important to note that the control and supervision of these weapons are entirely under NATO's control. Now, let's turn to the polarization in the Azerbaijan-Armenia War. Turkey and Israel were the first countries to unequivocally support Azerbaijan, while the United States and France were among the countries providing unconditional support to Armenia. Ukraine, Hungary, Albania, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Afghanistan openly sided with Azerbaijan by stating their support for Azerbaijan's territorial integrity. Russia, which plays a key role in this war, surprisingly chose to remain neutral at the beginning, contrary to expectations. Putin stated, "The conflicts are not taking place on Armenian territory, but in the territory of Nagorno-Karabakh. Therefore, it is not possible for us to take sides in this war. However, we call on both sides to end this war as soon as possible." The neutrality of Russia, and even allowing the advancement of the Azerbaijani army, is speculated to be linked to the recent strained relations between Pashinyan and Putin. The Armenian parliament had initiated efforts to recognize the International Criminal Court, a move to which Putin strongly objected. This was because there was an arrest warrant against Putin on charges of war crimes, and recognition by Armenia would mean his potential arrest upon entering the country. That's why Russia didn't interfere much in the Azerbaijan-Armenia War. It even turned a blind eye to agreements that favored Azerbaijan. Iran's stance on this war was surprising. Despite Armenia being the initiator of the conflict, the Iranian government unilaterally called for a ceasefire with Azerbaijan. Later on, it was revealed that Iran, under the guise of humanitarian aid, was sending weapons and munitions to Armenia. This action led to protests in many cities, and young people in the country volunteered to fight on Azerbaijan's side, prompting the Iranian army to be deployed along the Azerbaijan border. However, with Azerbaijan gaining a superior position and reclaiming occupied territories, the Iranian government changed its course, making a statement like, "This armed conflict is not in our interest. Yerevan is our neighbor, and we share ties with Baku in terms of religion, history, and culture. We support Azerbaijan's territorial integrity and are pleased with the liberation of the occupied regions." Despite these statements, it is widely known that Iran is uncomfortable with Azerbaijan's significant victory. Now, let's turn to the China-US friction. The world's two major powers, China and the United States, have repeatedly clashed over Taiwan and East Turkestan. East Turkestan, a region rich in oil reserves, has been under China's oppression for years, with the Uyghur Turks living there facing assimilation attempts by China. China justifies this oppression by opposing the Uyghur Turks' adherence to Islam under communist rule, preventing their declaration of independence, and safeguarding the region's rich oil reserves. The United States, with the support of Europe, continuously highlights the issue of East Turkestan to inflict economic damage on China. Both countries are also in a similar conflict over the Taiwan issue. Despite being Chinese territory, Taiwan has been independently governed since 1949. Taiwan is one of the world's leading technology countries. Taiwan is also one of America's most important trading partners. Despite Taiwan being considered by the United States as part of China since the establishment of the People's Republic of China in 1949, the security of the island, home to 23 million people, has been ensured by the United States. The people of this island emphasize that they see themselves as Taiwanese, not Chinese, on every occasion. In recent years, Taiwan's independence has been supported by the United States, much to the displeasure of the People's Republic of China. In 2022, a visit to Taiwan by Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives Nancy Pelosi escalated tensions in the region. The Chinese Navy surrounded the island with warships, and Chinese warplanes conducted flights near Taiwan. In response, the United States intervened by sending 4 warships to the South China Sea to support Taiwan. While the world feared the outbreak of war, this tension was portrayed in the media as a rehearsal for World War III. Fortunately, the feared scenario did not unfold, and the parties chose to halt the military movements in the region. Lastly, there is the ongoing Hamas-Israel war that continues to divide the world. Beginning on October 7, 2023, with Hamas crossing the Gaza Strip and attacking Israel, this conflict became the largest in the Middle East in recent years. Following airstrikes and a ground operation that we covered in a previous video, the Israeli military's invasion of Gaza resulted in the deaths of tens of thousands of Palestinian civilians. The countries expressing their initial support for Israel were the United States, France, Germany, Italy, and the United Kingdom. The United States deployed aircraft carriers to the Mediterranean to support Israel. In the following days, most European countries declared their support for Israel in a joint statement. The first states siding with Palestine were Iran, Lebanon, Qatar, Iraq, and Syria. Although other Arab republics expressed a desire for the conflict to stop, Turkey, whose stance in this war was most anticipated, initially approached the situation in a neutral manner. However, particularly after intense Israeli attacks, Turkey sided with Palestine. Russian leader Putin expressed concern about Israel's expansionist policies in occupied Palestine, stating that they closely monitor the situation and believe that the Palestinian people have the right to live on their own land. Russia declared that it was not taking sides in this war but implicitly supported Palestinian independence. Ukraine declared its military readiness by announcing support for Israel. The amusing aspect of the situation is that Ukraine, engaged in a war with Russia, received all its military equipment from the United States. Another country sending messages of support to Palestine in recent days is China, a significant military and economic player. Ukraine, despite being in a state of war with Russia, declared its readiness to provide military support to Israel. The ironic part is that all the equipment possessed by the Ukrainian army in the conflict with Russia has been supplied by the United States. Another country sending messages of support to Palestine in recent days is China, a significant military and economic player. China emphasized that the root cause of the Israel-Palestine conflict lies in the occupation of Palestinian territories by Israel. China stated that the fundamental solution to the problem is a two-state resolution and called for an immediate halt to Israeli attacks against Palestinian civilians. In the backdrop of ongoing tensions and wars, the potential parties in a hypothetical Third World War seem to be shaping up statistically as depicted on the screen. So, in your opinion, who would be the winner in a potential Third World War? Our answer leans towards the idea that once again, humanity would be the loser. Be sure to check out my other videos on the channel for more content. Hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe.